All right. Welcome to the Ilderon Tales. This is the campaign journal. This is episode 2 of the campaign journal, covering all of the episode 2s for book 3, saga 1 of the campaign. And we are just going to jump into it. So I'm going to start off with the gladiators. The gladiators, their episode 2 of their campaign started in the port of Rio Fair. You'll see it coming up over here on that map in a minute as it scrolls around. They were in the port. They had just made the deal with Grimstone Heartringer, who was going to sponsor them to enter into the arena. His deal was he would pay the 1,000 gold sponsorship for them to enter into the arena, if on the condition that if they lose, he gets to strangle one of the party members to death and see the moment where the life leaves their eyes. The party agreed to this, and Grimstone informed them that he had one more person for them to fight with, another person that he had made the deal with. However, this person appeared to be a warforge. Grimstone told them that they had spoken not in person and through writing, and that had he known he could not strangle this person to death, he wouldn't have taken the deal, but it was already made. The Warforged walked up to the party and revealed himself to be S332, also known as C's, and a very talented fighter looking to enter into the arena. Grimstone walked away, and there was a little bit of contention on whether or not Grimstone had actually paid up. Grimstone assured them that they were good, and he headed off. From there, the party noticed that different guilds were filing into the arena and getting ready for the fights for the day, as were the spectators. Also coming into the arena was the arena champion, a wildfire druid by the name of Kelsey. She was the current champion of the Rio Fair arena, of the Fae Felon arenas, and she had recently called down a firestorm in one of her previous matches and killed the earth elementals that they used to shape the arena in her storm. That said, the party was tipped off to the information. She was a very high level and very powerful druid. From there, they went into the fighting pits to enter into the or to officially enter into the arena. When they talked to the organizer, she had informed the party that they had two options. They could either enter into the tournament bracket of the arena or an exhibition match. If they entered into the tournament bracket, they would have to fight each guild that has entered into the tournament until they were the victorious guild, and then they would then be allowed to fight the champion of the arena, who was Kelsey. If they lost, they would not get their money back, or rather their sponsor would not get their money back. So they opted for an exhibition match, which was more around their skill level, as the exhibition matches were the matches that happened before the tournament, just for warming up the crowd. Once they agreed to the exhibition match, they were asked to provide a guild name. They decided on the name Paid in Blood after a good little bit of back and forth between them. Moving from there, they went into the arena to fight and enter and participate in their exhibition match. They went against another guild called Bards and Bears. And among the members of the Bards and Bears, there were three and a half bards, 3 performers, and 1 halfling. But amongst the members, there were 3 actual humanoid members, and one of the members was an actual black bear, who was a talented performer. The party was then alerted to how the exhibition matches worked. Each exhibition match was decided by 3 rounds. There would be a duel in the first round, the second round would be a challenge, and the third round would be a skirmish of a guild-on-guild skirmish. Whoever won the best 2 out of 3 rounds would be declared the winner of the exhibition match. The party agreed to the terms and agreed to let the gods decide, or let the fates decide their duel. A type of duel was chosen at random, which ended up being a duel of the hunt, which required that whichever duelist participated, wild creatures would be released into the arena. The duelist who slays the most creatures would then be declared the winner of that round. The bards and bears elected to have their halfling knife thrower enter into the duel of the hunts as their duelist, and the party selected Elizabeth XV to enter as their duelist. On one side of the arena, a horde of giant rats were led into the arena, and on the other side of the arena, a horde of feral hounds were let into the arena. All of the creatures swarmed towards the middle to attack the 2 duelists participating, Elizabeth and the halfling, her name escapes my mind right now. But anyways, immediately XV cast a spell on, or rather immediately the halfling won initiative and started throwing knives at all of the giant rats. She dropped one giant rat, gaining a score of 1 for herself, and then threw another knife at XV, trying to catch XV off guard and perhaps, incapacitate her. XV took hint of this and turned and immediately cast a spell on the halfling, stunning her, at which point all of the creatures swarmed around the halfling. XV then killed 2 dogs, bringing her score higher than the halfling, and all of the creatures began attacking the halfling. Before the halfling could be mauled by the giant rats and hounds, the guild leader of the bears and bards threw in the flag, forfeiting the duel on behalf of the bards and bears, giving the first round victory to the guild paid in blood. From there, there was no time for any of the party to lick their wounds. A couple healing spells were cast on the halfling, and a couple party members cast healing spells on XV. The next round was a challenge of skill, in which a performance was given to the audience. The bards and bears each took out an instrument and started performing a song, while the bear got on the stage and began dancing. The whole time, by the way, that this is happening, there are earth elementals underneath the ring, or underneath the Colosseum floor, that are reshaping the stone as needed to make a stage, to move creatures out, to make the fighting pit more interesting. These elementals are summoned and controlled by the people who manage the arena, and they're basically like the maintenance crew of the arena. After the bards and bards finish their performance, the party is up. They elect to do a comedy skit and have Brewbark, the half-orc druid, transform into a bear and start comedically attacking Seize, the Warforge. Meanwhile, the bard Drow, Zeeth, got on stage and narrated the whole affair. They just barely missed the mark on their finishing number, and the guild Bards and Bears take the skill challenge, putting each team's wins at one person one guild won one round, the other guild won the other round, bringing it down to the line in the skirmish. And the all-out skirmish, the bards and bears attacked the Paid in Blood guild. The whole time the two guilds were fighting against each other. Earth elementals were underneath the arena, reshaping it each and every round, putting obstacles in front of people, tripping other people, just making the fight that much more difficult and interesting. The guild Paid in Blood was able to win, and pretty much after they got like two of their opponents down, they steamrolled over the rest, granting them their first victory in their first, arena match. At which point the arena organizer went down, held up their hand, and that's where their session ended. Moving on to the scholars. The scholars session took place. It opened in the town of Kytelis Falls after they had tried kidnapping the harbor master. They were in the town of Kytelis Falls to try and determine what was being shipped out of there. They found out opal was being shipped out of there. As what the opal was used for or where it was going, they were uncertain. So they decided to take the harbor master's manifest and kidnap the harbor master himself. They set fire to the port that was being built and the warehouse that was storing all of the lumber in order to kind of delay the progress of that town. From there, they marched up the wet cliff sides up and around the falls, but bells started sounding in the town, and the guards had noticed that the warehouse was on fire. And the guards went riding on horses trying to scout the town to see what was happening, as Kytelis was not a very large town. Noticing that the guards were coming, Brahm ran towards the guards. Brahm, the light touch monk, ran towards the guards and to try and stop them from finding the party. He tried lying to the guards and informing them that whoever had set the fires had went in a different direction. The guards saw through his lies, was like, we're going to arrest him, and then we'll, see what's going on down there. One guard rides past him, and the other guard's told to arrest Brahm. Brahm just takes off in a sprint in the other direction, and the guard goes charging after him. Resulting in a chase scene. Brahm is just narrowly able to escape this guard, climbing up to a rooftop, the guard throwing a spear at him, falling down off the rooftop as he's climbing, and Brahm just leaping across the street onto a smaller house, getting away. The rest of the party who had to deal with this other knight who was riding towards them notices this knight coming. They all try and hide, but the knight still finds them, tells them to surrender. Instead, they run up and attack his horse. They kill the horse so that he can't follow, and then they take off into a sprint into the woods, leaping over shrubbery, running past anything they can as this knight is chasing after them. Eventually, they're able to jump down enough rocky faces and into the woods and lose this guard. Later they reconnect with Bram, and they all continue north out of the city, still carrying the unconscious harbor master that they kidnapped in the manifest and a chunk of opal. They travel well into the night, knowing that they're being followed, and don't stop until they hit a level of exhaustion, at which point they rest. Resting, they remember that there's danger in the bog in front of them as they're heading to the Matar woods, or bog, I believe. And they wake up the next morning, and there are strange statues around them. Among these statues, there is one that is not covered in moss, as they slept in some mossy ruins. As the party goes to inspect it, the statue moves, swiping at them, trying to grab them. They barely get out of the way of it before it expands its wings and flies off, revealing itself to be a gargoyle. The party, a little shocked by this, continues deeper into the woods. They are looking for their contact, a man by the name of Lucilith, who will teleport them back to the island of Coven. Looking for Lucilith, eventually, as they're going northwards, they see a bright light in the bog that's not caused by the sun. Kayeth sends his owl to investigate it. As the owl gets closer, it sees this woman channeling some dark ichor into the water, and the point at which the water is flowing and the ichor is touching, the water is just refracting this rainbow light. There are lines of gargoyles around her. One gargoyle turns and grabs Kayeth's owl familiar and plunges it into the water and holds it there until it drowns. At which point Kayeth is returned to his senses, and he tells everybody, let's not go that way. We're going to go the complete opposite and keep looking for Lucilith. They find Lucilith's cottage. Lucilith tells them he's been expecting them, and informs them that the bog has been getting really dangerous. Lucilith has, when they ask about the woman they saw, Lucilith informs them that he has indeed seen this woman before. She moved in about a week ago, and she caught him off guard with a disintegration ray as he was trying to get her to leave the bog. Since then, Lucilith has just given her a wide berth. He said sea hags have been appearing inside of the bog and attacking him, and he's been killing them. The party recalls that 3 Silver Sigil agents were sent into the bog to investigate it. As they poke around Lucilith's manor, or Lucilith's cottage, they find a sea hag that is dead. It is tied up with its arms above its head, and it's been blasted apart as it has been the victim of several spells. The party sift through the remains to find a mark on the sea hag's flesh that is a symbol of the Silver Sigil, indicating that the Silver Sigil members did come here, did investigate, and were turned into sea hags and then attacked Lucilith, and Lucilith killed them. Lucilith had no idea they were Silver Sigil agents. He didn't check. He shot first and asked questions later. He wrote up a report for the party to bring back to the Isle of Coven, and after which they nodded in agreement and all jumped through the teleportation circle that Lucilith had created for them, arriving back in Coven. Let's see, that is their campaign, and finally we are on to the Nobles. The Nobles had a really, really interesting session for their episode 2. Let me remind myself where it started. Oh, okay, I remember. Okay, so the Nobles started as they were running away from 2 archmages dueling, slinging spells back and forth. They had just whipped the horses pulling a carriage wildly and shot down the road. The horses sprinted as fast as they can, as they were just magically put to sleep. They were woken up. These people start casting spells behind them, and the horses are spooked, and they just start fleeing. So these horses wildly dash down the road to Somar Villa. When they get to Somar Villa, Claw makes a check to try and bring them back under control, and he's able to, coupled with his ability to handle animals and the horse's exhaustion of, for sprinting for, 30 minutes straight. From there, the party gets off the wagon, gets what they can off of it, the covered wagon, gets what they can off of it, and they head into the nearest inn at the edge of the city to try and get some rest, as Asuandria, the princess, was out of spell slots and could no longer hide her condition, which was, her abyssal black eyes. From there, the party goes inside. They are debating what to do next and determine that they need to find a magical way to hide themselves, as the two archmages that are after them are very powerful figures. Nobody's really certain why Corwin's an archmage or what's going on with her, but the party decides that they still need to hide from her. Asuandria informs them that they can buy more necklaces that would protect against scrying and divination magic, but they would need the funds. And it just so happens there's a noble lady inside of the tavern that they walk into who is arguing with her bodyguard. The bodyguard explains that she's extremely difficult to travel with, and that he is done, and rips up his contract in front of her and tells her she can give her gold to somebody else for protection. He's going home. The noblewoman, a girl by the name of Daphne Sarkelia, looks at the party, and Asuandria is just like, one sec, and walks up to her and says, hey, I hear you're looking for bodyguards. You're paying gold. We need gold. I've got 6 bodyguards. We can offer you protection. And Daphne says, sure, why not? And partners up with the group. The group gets to know Daphne a little bit better. Meanwhile, they divide up and split up rooms for the night. They put all of the things that can be scryed on and all the people who can be scryed on in one room, and everybody else who the two mages don't know about in a different room. From there, the party then sleeps for the night and wakes up the next day, preparing to go about and travel. As they leave the inn that morning, Corwin is there inspecting the carriage they abandoned outside of the inn, at which point Corwin sees the party leaving and turns and walks over to the party. Corwin is the beggar who revealed herself to be an archmage. She lets the party know that she sent Reyna back to the castle licking her wounds, as Reyna was unable to overcome her in a spell duel, but Corwin could not finish her. Then the looking at Asuandria and Asuandria's illusion, Corwin was reminded of a memory. She focused in on Asuandria for a long moment before she finally said Oro's name, and that she had seen Oro, Asuandria's father, just last month. That confused the entire party, and Corwin told them that Oro and his new wife would visit her once a month for the past 12 years. And that he lives somewhere near Somar Villa, just outside its city limits. The party thinks she's lying. Corwin shrugs and doesn't really care and goes inside to go to sleep and get some rest. From there, the party divides up and sells a couple of their items so that they can can't be scryed on any more. Oh wow, and I just reminded myself of something. They sell a couple items so that they can't be scryed on anymore, and then the other half of the party uses Daphne Sarkelia's gold to go out and buy amulets against proof of detection and location. From there, the party members who need the amulets, the party meets back up. The party members who need the amulets, they all meet up in a park and put them on and start attuning to them. The party members who don't go a little deeper into the city to investigate Lord Niatin, Kiris Niatin, the son of the noble who tried to stab Osuandria. Stepping into his manor, the party finds out that Marrow is already there, pouring through his records. They decide to give him a wide berth. Through Daphne Sarkelia's machinations, they're able to get a meeting with Kiris Niatin, as it appears Daphne has had romantic history with him. When Kiris shows up, or rather before Kiris shows up, Osuandria goes and investigates what is going on in the manor, and she finds out that Kiris is meeting with a Nazram officer. The Nazram officer she's meeting with specifically, that he's meeting with specifically, is Osuandria's grandmother, Marlena Bertolf. From there, Osuandria comes back in the party as Osuandria has disguised herself as a guard, and lets the party know they'll have to do the questioning for her, because she can't just simply drop the spell, because she doesn't have enough spell slots to just freely redo her illusion. As Lord Niatin comes in, they question him. They ask him some of the questions Osuandria wanted to know, and they find out that Marlena Bertolf is there meeting with Kiris, because Marlena was there, who had met with Glacius Niatin the day before, to ensure his support, and she was following up, ensuring that Kiris would still have the same support for her, as Glacius was now dead and any contracts or agreements they made were void. The party then found out that Marlena was rallying support to call together a league, the different leagues of Ardor Serai. The leagues are the governing bodies of different councils that basically handle the governing of Ardor Serai. Calling together the leagues would mean the chance to appoint a new magnate, a new leader of their country, and Glacius was one of the growing influential lords in the country whose support she would need. It turns out that she is trying to promote her sergeant, Weston Rindell, to the magnate of the country, or at least give him the chance, and that is why she's calling together the leagues. She asked Glacius for his support, but Glacius wanted to know more about who he is supporting and why he shouldn't support the magnate, and he asked very intimate questions about the magnate's personal life and her family, all of which Marlena answered, and the party then surmised that that is where he got the information on which he acted to attack Osuandria. Settled that Kiris Niatin didn't have the same intentions as his father, or the same aggressive intentions as his father. They were resolved to leave the manor and agree that that matter with the Niatins was settled, as they wouldn't be a threat to Osuandria. As the party reconvened, they were deciding what to do next. Osuandria told them she would pay them all, and she paid them all the money she owed them for taking her to Somar Villa. And she said before she headed back to the capital, she was going to go look for her father, which the party decided to continue to help her out. The party went back and talked to Corwin, waking her up from her sleep and talking to her. Corwin tried to remember more information about Oro, as Corwin is slowly regaining her memories. She searched her mind and thought as hard as she could, and she remembered that Oro's daughter mentioned that they live in a place called Firtar Hamlet, which is west of Somar Villa. The party then thanked Corwin for the information, and Corwin kind of had a PTSD flashback, in which she remembered that Oro's new wife, Donaganya, was responsible for altering Corwin's mind and erasing her memory. And Corwin told the party if they can find her, Corwin would reap vengeance on her. At which point it reminded Corwin that she had had something for Oswandria. She went and gave Oswandria 3 spell scrolls she had looted from Reyna before Reyna left. Oswandria said that she couldn't even begin to cast those spell scrolls, and then Corwin just shrugged and said, well, whatever, you can have them, and Corwin went back to bed. The party then headed to Firtar Hamlet, borrowing some horses from the Kalkin. Getting to Firtar Hamlet, Lumilia saw a girl that looked exactly like a younger version of her mother, remembering that her mother had a child before Lumilia, but the child had died when it was very, very young. That said, the party, Lumilia paid no attention to it and went on to find Oro. They found him on a farmhouse on the western side of town. He was outside, I believe, like chopping wood or something. And as they came up to him, he had a long moment of staring at Oswandria. Oswandria stepped forward and called him father, and he said he had no idea who she was, but he had dreamt of her face before, at which point the girl who Lumilia saw came walking up to the house and asked and called Oro father and asked who the people were. The girl revealed herself as Maria Oswin, and Oro told her to go get her mother. At which point the party talked back and forth with Oro briefly. He had been having trouble with sleeping and dreams lately. He didn't know who Oswandria was, but apologized that, he wasn't the person she was looking for. At which point, Donaganya, the person Corwin said she would reap vengeance on, appeared on the porch. Maria standing behind her and invited the party inside. She told Oro to go prepare the carriage, and Oro nodded and walked off. The party was very confused as to what was going on, but figured it was best not to take her invitation inside, and Donaganya revealed that the princess was in grave danger if she had come here to find Donaganya. When asked how the princess found out about Donaganya, the party informed her it was Corwin, and Donaganya told them they were in even more danger. They accepted her invite and went inside, and Donaganya informed them that the princess was never had a blood condition. The princess was cursed, and that the curse was never cured. Donaganya was a mind mage that used to work at Zenith Rise, and she was instructed to one by one change the memory of the magnate's knights to make all of them think that they had cured the princess of her curse. She went through each way that she had instructed, or that she had changed the memory of the different knights, and the knights then carried word to all of the factions of Ardor Serai, saying that the princess was cured. The reason that this was done was because there were several factions inside of Ardor Serai that knew the princess was magically afflicted, and said if she couldn't be cured, she would have to be killed before she became a problem. Unable to, have her daughter killed for, the greater good, the magnate and the head diviner came up with this plan instead. The reason why the princess had to be killed there was a death cult that was after her, a circle known as the Daughters of Gendawai. They were extremely difficult to deal with, and oftentimes killing them wasn't enough, as they would just pop up again a few years later. The magnate had captured what they believed was the last remnants of the Daughter of Gendawai's circle, and one that had popped up several times before, and thrown her in a dungeon. Oro, and Donaganya's informing them of this. Oro knew that that woman would eventually get out of the dungeon and never stop hunting his daughter, Asuandria Bertolf. And Oro had went to the Mind Mage and said he would give her anything if she completely erased the woman's mind, so that she didn't even remember who she was. Agreeing to it, the Mind Mage scrambled Corwin's mind, took her out of the cell, and deposited her in a small village in the north, away from any healers or any sort of magic, out in the middle of nowhere. And it was revealed that that was the village where Stradora and where Stradora and Wensley did their healing magic in. And when Wensley had healed Corwin of the Blight, it had also cured Corwin of the mind wiping too. But back on to Donaganya's story, Donaganya explained that when the time came to pay her, she took Oro as her payment, and wiped his mind so that he didn't remember any of his past life. From there, she explained to them that if Corwin had her memories back, they were all in danger, and the only reason she was telling them anything was as a courtesy to the princess, and that Donaganya was taking her family and running. When asked about her daughter, Maria, Donaganya explained that Corwin had kidnapped a child in another northern village near where they had deposited her from, and was trying to convert her to her circle before the Magnate's Knights had found her. When the Knights took in Corwin the first time, they didn't know what to do with the child or where it had came from, because it was just a baby, or who had lost the child. And so Donaganya took in the child as her own. After that, the party pleaded for Donaganya to give them 5 minutes to talk with Oro on Mind Warp. Donaganya shook her head and said no, because it would just start to cascade more confusing thoughts in his mind. Asuandria lost her cool. She snatched off the necklace on Donaganya's neck, which was a necklace that was protecting her from being divined on, which was one of the reasons Corwin and Reyna and nobody could find her. Asuandria said she'd break the necklace if Donaganya didn't remove the charms for 5 minutes. And the party, scared of what Donaganya was capable of, charmed Asuandria and made her give back the necklace. Walking outside, magically charmed, Asuandria was friendly with Daphne, but not anybody else. As the party was leaving, Maria ran up to the party, and Maria, the daughter, ran up to the party and apologized. Lumilia put together that this daughter was likely the missing child, or the presumed dead child of her mother and father, of Lumilia's mother and father. Maria and Lumilia talked, and Lumilia asked if she was happy here. Maria started to respond and said she is happy. Her dad's a little hard on her, But before she could get out any more of that sentence, Osuandria leaped to try and choke Lumilia, angry that she even got to spend time with her father. The party restrained Osuandria, and and Maria and Lumilia apologized. At which point, Donaganya called Maria over, and the party separated there and started heading back into the center of Fiertar Hamlet. That is where that session ended. Episode 3 of the campaign journals will be coming out soon too, so please look for that. And you can watch and follow all of these campaigns live on this YouTube channel. They're wonderful. They're so much fun to run. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day. Bye.